Wargaming Campaigns by Henry Hyde. We are back to Hell and Fateful Decisions. Although I don't think we used this rulebook for our last fight, did we? We actually used, which rule set was it? I got so many of these Jim Webster books, I'm losing track. Yeah, close enough. Look, we're going to be talking about the campaign state today and looking at kind of the interlude. We had some fun with our first combat. Things didn't go well for the Regnans. Let's take a look at what has to happen next. Hell in Microcosm. Yeah, this is the one. Hell and Fateful Decisions is a battalion scale rule set. This is more division scale. So that's what we used for our combat. I can bring this map out real quick, kind of refresh your memory. I know it's been a little while, so here's the miniature war game. Had a lot of really good comments in the last video, people pointing out, you know, you really are kind of, you're moving, Mr. Wargaming. The children yearn for hex encounter, and guilty is charged. I think that might work a little bit better on this. I enjoyed, you know, I really liked this system of just drawing things out on the table. It reminds me, there was a great game back in the day, Grease Pens. I think it's called Ranger, and it's still available. I need to get myself a copy of that because it's a lot of fun. It was a Vietnam War game that used a grease pencil to mark out your locations. Really sophisticated stuff, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the Hyde's Reach is the name of the planet, and the Regnans have come up. We can kind of zoom in here a little bit, or zoom out. Regnans came up and they seized this junction because they really want to control the silver mines. This is the single greatest mineral deposit on the planet of Hyde's Reach, and it's owned by the guys in the north, the Septies, the Septembrians. We're going to call them Septies, and this is Regnum. What shows how long it's been. I call them the Regnans, right? It's Septemtria, and it's Osterregnum, Septies and Regnans. And the Regnans came in and they took advantage of some political instability. They actually have a rather significant diplomatic situation on their hand, that they're holding the rightful leader of the Septies, but the Septies are like, yeah, we didn't like him anyway. It's cool. It's fine. So kind of an odd political situation. And the point is, we're fighting over this rail junction. That has essentially become the point of the campaign. And the Regnans ran up and they grabbed it, and it forces these guys to take the Septies have to come in. They have a two-front war, I guess you could say. The disadvantage that the Regnans have is that they have it's harder to get here. The nice thing about a modern war game, particularly if you've got the rail lines in place, is that you can move a lot of troops around really fast. In fact, let's take a look at that. And this is going to be important here in a little bit. Fortunately, here in Wargaming Campaigns, we have some movement rates. Now, these are given in terms of hexes, 5-mile hexes, so close order infantry can march 10 miles a day. If you're on boats, you can move 30 miles a day. Upriver is a little bit slower, of course, and rail is way up here. Look at that, 20 movement points, 100 miles a day. Well, 100 miles a day, that's 2.5 inches on this particular map. And man, thank goodness it's the fall time. Cheap office supplies. I finally have a nice black and white ruler. So much more visible. So at 100 miles a day, the Septies, look, there you go. Like in a single day, they can get basically from their capital city of Cook's Landing. That puts them like basically right at the front lines. And likewise, if they're coming from this Queen City up here, this city is called Pylomopolis. 100 miles gets them. They're going to be able to debouche within, that same day. The day that they set out, they're going to get there. They're going to be able to unload. They'll be able to jump into the attack later. So that's going to be important later on in this video even. Where we're at right now is that, and just to kind of look at things here on the map, this is, I think we said, I write it down, 1 centimeter equals 2 kilometers. We had to do that because that's the measurements Jim Webster gave us. Another way to look at it is that 1 centimeter is a little bit more than 1 mile. So if we now switch our units to centimeters, this village, of course, is the depot. So that depot is about 23 miles from the front lines from the battleground. Or, of course, you can actually come up to here. I think we decided that right here at this rail junction, nice defensible line, we can actually get the Septi army within about 12 to 13 miles. That means you unload, and then maybe you camp here for the night, and then you jump into the battle. Now, this is modern-day wargaming, so information flows a lot freer, but when you have the advantage of being on the offensive, and really what we learned, if you will, through this little exercise, is that the offense is far more powerful. Hey, it's a modern war game. That's probably no surprise, particularly to students of the modern genre. It's new to me. You might have already realized that. So our battle was very simple. We had 3 fresh battalions on the part of the defenders. They dumped 1 at the junction, had plenty of time to set up defenses. Not exactly concrete bunkers, but they could dig foxholes. They could get, overlapping fields of fire, get some enfilade fire. So they put 1 battalion here, 1 battalion here, and 1 fallback here with the headquarters. They set up their artillery kind of halfway between. What the problem that they ran into is that the Septies could bring 2 battalions, just wave attacks against the junction. And their 3rd battalion could kind of pin this hill in place. So by focusing that 3-2 advantage, the armor kind of canceled each other out. And that 3-2 advantage overcame the advantage of the artillery. So the question then becomes, all right, in the aftermath of the battle, so day 1 of the battle, that takes place on, unless I'm mistaken, that was July 12th. By the end of the day, the Regnans are in full retreat. But what kind of retreat are they in? And this is where we have to look at the strategic situation. Now, they do have a suitable fallback line of defense. Remember, the headquarters battalion was in this village. So if they wanted to, they have a couple of different options for how they are going to fall back. And that's really the key to today's episode. The question is, there's 2 questions we have to answer. The first is, how are the Septies going to capitalize on their victory? The second question is, what is the contingency plan that the Regnans had for being driven out of this area? Remember, they've got a full company of gendarmes over here in the mining town pacifying the place right now. They've been there for a day or 2. They're going to need a few more days to fully pacify. To complicate matters further, the Regnans have another regiment coming up from Frugford. Now, this regiment spawns on the day of the battle. So the question is, how long does it take to get there? Well, we looked at the rail lines, and it takes 2 days. So it spawns on the 13th. They can move 2.5 inches. On the 14th, they can move. Then 15th in about half a day, and then they're just a day away. Now, they do have some cavalry who may be able to take a direct line, and I'm talking beast-mounted cavalry, to reinforce this area right away. They might not want to do that. They might want to bring the whole force up here by the 16th. The next available resources for the Septies is going to be, well, here we have, oh, look, on the 17th, they spawn, but way over here. So I'm not going to worry about that just yet. This regiment of the, what does HC stand for again? I can't remember. My apologies to whoever that was that I named that after. It's something city, but I can't remember which viewer it is. All right, so what we need to do is figure out what the 2 strategies are. And the way this works, as advised by both Henry Hyde and old Bill Sylvester here, William Sylvester, come up with 3 suitable strategies for each of the forces, and then you roll a d6. That gives us a total of 9 possible outcomes, depending on how those strategies come about. So I have 2 strategies to suggest here, and this strategy is for the 2 forces here. These are the Captain Hook, the Hooks Regiment, and the Shevlinton Regiment, both from the capital city. So for the Hooks Regiment, remember, they're still on the offensive. They have 3, as I see it, possibilities. The first possibility is to push the Regnans out of the village. So the Regnans have fallen back, and just go full offense, just drive them back. Now, this will be a bit of a tough nut to crack, but remember that the Septies have far fewer casualties. They're in much better shape. They probably took a few casualties. the 3 forces for the 3 regiments for the Regnans are at, well, for the Septs, they are at, let me see if I got, where did I write this down here? Oh, here it is, right on the map. See, I got it right in there. So there's the 13, 14, and 15. So a little bit. On the opposite side, we have only 5 strength points. And as we've seen in previous campaigns, they may get a few of these back over time, but some of these are going to be prisoners of war that will be marched off down the railroad tracks in the other direction. So that's going to be 5 strength points, this one, and that's still again 5, and then 9 strength points and full. So 15, 9, and 5, and then 15, 14, and 13. Yeah, that's going to be an issue for them. So our 3 are, do we just drive them out? Yeah, just go hard, man. Go hard. Now, again, they're going to have a second force coming, and I think they know that. The second option that they have available to themselves is to just hold, wait for reinforcements. You've taken Hill 213, entrench. In the long run, you're going to be able to win this war of attrition. You've got a lot more forces. You've got a lot more ability to do so. So just make them bleed. It's a bit passive, but, you know, it's doable. And then the third, of course, is go ahead and send your best. Well, I don't know. Would you send your best? You'd send 1 battalion to the mines to liberate that city and hold the pass, right? Take a look. You just put 1 battalion here. That's one possibility. So there's our 3. We can either go whole hog, just continue the offensive. You got them on the run, get after them. We can go full defense and just hold Hill 213, or we can do a little bit of both. We're going to hold the Hill 213, but we are going to push forces in this direction. Now, on the other side, and this is the way you surprise yourself, don't determine what it is, because your new strategies that you come up for the defense will reflect what they know is the strategy on the offense. So we don't know yet. Just looking at this static situation as it is, there are 3 possibilities. Just hold here. Wait for reinforcements. They're going to be here in about 2 or 3 days. You can prepare. Now you're going to have the weight of numbers, and you'll be able to retake this junction and maybe hold it next time. On the other hand, you could hold the village and then attack with the Frugford cavalry. So we send the horse cavalry, who will get here a day or 2 early, and then as soon as they get there, you go on the attack. That's possibility too. It will take a day or 2 for the rest of that regiment to catch up, but you know, they can always defend this area while the rest of your now battered troops go off to the mines and you know, get up to hijinks. On the other hand, the third thing you can do is just pull south. Pull south, rendezvous with this cavalry, and then move straight to the mines. Hole up at the mines and go full Helm's Deep. Just build a defensive line there, and I don't know what you do from there, because there's no real way to get to these mountains in any reasonable amount of time. So maybe not the best possibility. I don't think that's the one I would pick, but that gives us 3. We just go full defense right here. We bring up the Frugford Beast Cavalry, and we launch a counterattack immediately, or we just send everybody off in this direction, and then you've got like a pincher movement where the rest of the Frugford regiment comes up here. Now, they won't be supported by that Beast Cavalry, but they will be able to take some action. Before I roll, there is one thing I need to warn you about. I completely forgot to do the random encounters. We're going to do that after the roll. Since they're all independent of each other, it doesn't really matter. I could figure out what the random encounters are first, and then adjust the strategies from there. But these random encounters are going to start to take effect on the 13th. And as I said, it's still the 12th. In fact, the strategies take place on the 13th too. So sometimes there's just no way to predict. Let's roll for the Septs first. On a 1 or a 2, we're going full offense in 1 to 3 days. We're going to take some time, recover our wounded, come up with a strategy and a plan, and then hit them hard. On a 3 or a 4, we'll just go full defense, waiting for reinforcements. We own the junction. We're fine. And then on a 5 or 6, we'll send 1 company to Silverton. The other 2 will hold Hill 213. There you go. full defense. We're just going to hang tight. We're going to wait for that counterattack and try to weather the storm. For the Regnans, a 5 means we're going to pull south, rendezvous with the whole Frugford, and everybody is going to move to the silver mines. So we're going to set up another defensive line. Now, the difficulty here is that losing the junction, our line is going to be right here by these, in this pass, in the foothills, I guess we'll say. They're going to need to leave themselves an avenue of retreat, and that's going to take a day or two to get over there. It's going to take a day to get over there, and then a day or two, and things will get static until the next force arrives. So we'll have to think about what that means, and I think it's pretty obvious that the Frugford regiment will hang together, right? So like I said, it's going to be 13, 14, 15. So we're going to have another battle here on the 16th. Oh my goodness, these Septies didn't realize that they were going to be facing a fresh force. But they will now be in this area. So I'm going to have to make another copy of this. And in the meantime, it looks like we've got 3 or 4 days to prepare the defense. And I don't know, maybe the construction battalion starts carving a pass through the mountains, and maybe they can dynamite this so that suddenly the silver mines are seized by the Regnans, and boy, the balance of power sure shifts. It's going to depend on whether or not these guys can get, and then, when did these guys come on? You didn't even notice that. They come on the 17th, so they're probably going to show up a lot faster, too. Who else do we have? Is anybody else, any other surprises out here? August 3rd? Yeah, no, that's about it. Okay, so that's pretty much what's going to happen here. We're going to bring the Frugford around, and then, our next episode will discuss this battle right here, which looks like it's going to take place on the 16th. And in the meantime, we need to roll some percentile dice because we have the potential for some random events. This is really easy. We simply roll percentile dice, once for the Septies, once for the Regnans. For the Septembrians, a 43 means, no effect. There's a 50-50 chance that nothing happens. And then with a 53, again, no effect. No surprises there. The last thing we need to do before we close out this episode is follow along and check out the weather. We have a lovely little weather chart, a nice little barometer. And as you recall, we were right here on the 15th. So I even wrote 15 just to remind myself, on a 1 or a 2. So now we're going to check for the 16th through the 20th. It's clear skies so far. On 1 or 2, we go up a box. On a 3 or 4, we hold still. And on a 5 or 6, we go down a box. So on a 6, we go down into, we got light rain on the 16th. We've had a couple of days of light rain. It's the summertime here in the, what would you call it? Moderate. Now we start in this box, and again, we roll, and we go down into, it's clear skies. And we hold on clear skies. And we hold on clear skies. So that means it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on the 20th, we are going to hold. So clear skies, no weather effects, nothing too shocking there. But now we get to have some fun on our next fight because it's not armor versus armor in support of our combatants. It's going to be beast cavalry. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure where they're going to go. Got to think about that. It's going to be an interesting one. Make sure you tune in. You're going to love it. Till next time, I'm praying for you.